Hello students, in this lecture we are going to learn the importance of verbs and types of verbs, how the verbs are going to be useful in learning language, and we also learn the role and the functions of the verbs in learning English language. So we all know that English has a rich system of auxiliaries. Auxiliary in grammar is an helping element. So a verb that adds meaning to the basic meaning of the main verb in a class. So let us look at the verbs and its definition and the types. So we also go through the different examples. So welcome to this verbs lecture. Now verbs, we know that a verb is a word that indicates an action, event, state or possession, etc. So a verb may tell us of four things. Generally they are what a person or thing does. So if you look at this, we'll understand. Example, he teaches English. So what a person, he is an English teacher, right? And if we look at the second sentence, Shravani laughs. What does it? So she is laughing or she laughs. Now we'll go to the next one. What a person or thing is, it shows the status. Here the example is, she is a rich woman. So this is the status or the position of a person or a thing. Now glass is unbreakable. So this is what kind of thing it is. In the first sentence we understand what kind of woman is he, and in the second sentence what kind of glass it is. In the third aspect, what is done to a person or thing. So verbs will help us to understand how they do, right? Example, the door was broken. So what was happened? What here coming to the thing. So the door was broken. And this another sentence, James was appreciated. So what happened to him? He was appreciated. Next, what a person or a thing possesses. So example, we have a car. This here the car shows possession. Then Mohan has mobile. So this is the way verbs will help us in four ways. So these four things we will discuss in depth. Now look at the types of the verbs. So we know that how the verbs have been classified or divided. So this will be very interesting and you learn many things through this classification. If you look at this picture, this will help us to understand the family diagram or the complete picture of the verb family. So verbs have been divided into two types, that is main verbs. They are also called as lexical verbs. Example, give, take, call, walk. Okay, these are all examples of the main verbs. So we know that in English structure, after the subject we keep verb. So these are the main verbs. Now coming to the second category or the second type, that is auxiliary verbs, are also called as helping verbs. So here we have to understand. So auxiliary verbs again subdivided into two types, as modal auxiliaries, and the second category is primary auxiliaries. So dear students, what we have to understand here. So again, what are the modal auxiliaries? There are around 13 modal auxiliaries are there in English language. So they are like can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, must, ought to, etc. We can also add some more modal auxiliaries. So when it comes to the primary auxiliaries, again the primary auxiliaries have subdivided into three types. They are be forms, do forms, and have forms. So what are the be forms? Am, is, are, being, was, were, been. So these are all called as be forms. If you look at the do forms, do, does, doing, did, done. These are the group of do forms. Have forms are has, have, having, had. So we have seen how the verbs have divided here. So we have emphasized on the lexical verbs and its division. So we need to understand main verbs classification also. So this will help us to understand how the verbs, another classification will help us to understand. Look at this. So this is another classification of the verbs right here. Verbs, these are all the main verbs. So verbs have divided into finite and non-finite verbs, and non-finite verbs are subdivided into three, like infinitive, gerund, and participle. Even finite verbs also subdivided into transitive and intransitive words. So this classification would be discussed in detail in the next video, but here what we have to understand, transitive, intransitive, we know that. So transitive verbs are they follows like object, right? Whereas intransitive verbs, they do not take object. So here non-finite verbs are begin subdivided into finite, gerund, and participle. So now if you move to the next slide, this will help us to understand what are the primary auxiliaries. So dear students, how the primary auxiliaries are going to be helpful to a student to know and learn the language. So primary auxiliaries are, as we had the discussion in the beginning, so English language has a rich system of auxiliaries. So in no other language you find this type of structure, auxiliaries family. Now auxiliary in a grammar is a helping element. That is why, so these primary auxiliaries, we call them as helping verbs or auxiliaries. So auxiliaries are used together with the main verbs. Some based on the need and the situation, we also use auxiliaries or the helping verbs together with the main verbs. So we know that we understood in the beginning, verb is divided into main verb and the helping verb, right? Auxiliary verb. So main verbs, they stand alone in any tense, whereas helping verbs, they help the main verb, they modify the main verb, they add something to the main verb. Sometimes helping verbs also functions as work as main verb. That we will discuss in the next slides. So here auxiliaries can convey information about tense, mood, person, and number. So this is very important to understand how auxiliary is helpful to a learner. So learner can understand the tense of the structure, mood of the person, right? What kind of person? First person, second person, third person, or the number. Is it singular or plural? So if we come to this, primary auxiliaries generally precede main verbs. So they come before the main verbs. Now here auxiliaries perform different functions. What are they? That we will understand. So first, the function of the primary auxiliaries is they express tense. Here look at the example. He is going to college. So here the tense is ing form, continuous form. Right now the action is going on continuous progress. Look at the second function, that is express grammar. We have finished work. So when we use we have finished, have plus V3, that shows present perfect, right? Now the third function of the primary auxiliaries is modality. So they were playing cricket. So this is an example of modality. Next one, voice. So here I can solve this problem, how the subject, object and verb can be used. So this is the way we can understand the functions of the primary auxiliaries. Now the primary auxiliaries are just we discussed, they are be forms, do forms and have forms, and their various forms are called primary auxiliaries. Now we will discuss them in detail one by one. Look at what are the be forms and how the be forms are helpful to a student. Look at, so be or to be is a significant verb that has many uses in English language. Now it can be used as an action verb that stands alone. So be forms can be used as an action verb or main verb. Sometimes they can stand alone. Then be forms are, what are the be forms? Be forms are generally is, am, was, were, be, being, been, etc. So some of the forms also we can add into this group. Now dear students, how the functions of the be forms or the uses of the be forms are, we can use this with first form of the verb to express duty and necessity, arrangement, intention, purpose, possibility and etc. So here look at the example, they are to be married. So here we can understand the possibility of the sentence. So here with to, so we use to, okay. So here be is a be form, r is a be form, so we are using r plus 2. So look at the next one, I am to send this mail today. So here am is also taking to a preposition here. Look at the second function, with the first form of the verb plus ing to suggest continuous aspect, means present tense plus present progressive. It suggests the continuous aspect of the verb. So another use of the be forms is to understand, to know the continuous aspect of the sentence or the subject. Look at the example, she is writing. So here is a be form and it shows that the continuous aspect of the sentence. Look at what have been doing this week. So this would be the future action, but this is also tell us to the continuous aspect. Now look at the third one. With the third form of the verb, it gives a passive voice. So look at the example, they were killed in the war. So this is in the passive voice because who have killed them we do not know. So just we are using here the passive voice, that is they were killed in the war. So these are all the examples of the be forms. Now the thieves were caught. Look at do forms, how the do forms are useful. So here do forms, do can be used as an action verb that stands alone in all its tenses. So they can stand alone in all its tenses. Look at, do forms are do, to do, does, done, did, didn't, doesn't. So these are called as do forms. Look at how we are going to look at them. So when use do forms or as an auxiliary verb, do is always paired up with another verb to create a complete verb phrase. Look at the example. So the auxiliary do is used in the different situations, like to make a request or invitation. look at the example. Example, do attend our party. So here we are using do form to emphasize the meaning. Okay, so making a extending an invitation through this. Now, in front of the principal verb to form negative sentences and questions. So this is in front of the main verb. So that forms negative sentences and questions. Look at the example. She doesn't like this dish. So she is a third person, right? So do forms, that is doesn't. So like this dish. Now another sentence, that is does Raju speak English? This is for questioning, interrogative. Look at the another purpose of the do forms, that is to make question tags. So we use do forms to make question forms. Example, you live in Delhi, don't you? This is the structure of the question tag. He doesn't play, does he? So we know that how the question tags can be formed in English language. Look at the have forms. So have forms are a very important verb that can stand alone in all tenses. That is the greatness of have forms. So have forms are have, has, had, haven't, having, hadn't. So these are the verbs are called as have forms. They help in forming a perfect sentences. Have forms help us to form perfect sentences in English. So example, have you been to Agra? So this is interrogative sentence, but which is in present perfect tense. Next sentence, the patient had died before doctor came. So here had we are using as a have form. Look at we have finished our work. So here have, that as a have form we are using in the sentence. Now she has gone home. So there is a typographical mistake. She has gone home. So this is also has we are using for third person singular. Now in negative and questions, have to and had to are used with do, does, did. Look at example. Do they have to attend? So asking the question. Answer, she doesn't have to go. She doesn't have to go somewhere. Now if you go to the next, model auxiliaries. So dear students, we have seen so far what are the verbs and types of the verbs and the classification. So we have also seen be forms, do forms and have forms. Now we are moving to the model auxiliaries. How the model auxiliaries are helpful, useful in a learning language. So here, so models have a special place in English language because models will help us to learning language in many ways. Look at models are type of auxiliaries are helping verbs. How to use these model auxiliaries, they express the attitude of the speaker to any process. So they are used to express futurity, ability, possibility, permission, obligation, suggestion, etc. In these situations or the conditions, we use model auxiliaries. Look at them. The important function of the models is to modify the meaning of main verb. So these model auxiliaries, they modify the meaning of the main verbs. This is the important function of the model auxiliaries. So models are can, could, may, might, shall, should, must, have to, ought to, will, would, etc. So these are all the model auxiliaries. Look at the can and could. We'll go one by one. How can and could be used in English language. So first we'll go through the can. So can is used to express the present and the future tenses or the situations. Look at. So can is used to express the power or ability to do something as. So example, he can play very well. So here can shows the ability of the subject. She can dance well. Again here what she can do, she can dance well, that is her ability. So we also use can for permissions, like can I use your mobile, asking the permission, taking the permission from the other person. So you can use my mobile, this is an answer. Now, so possibility or probability, guessing the future, what kind of possibility we have with can. So example, anybody can write the exam. So there is no restriction. So anybody can attend or write the exam. This is a possibility as well as the probability. Another example, anyone can win the game. So there are no restrictions. If anyone practice well, they can win the game. So for the present continuous also we use can. I can see he is reading. So can shows an ability, but reading that shows the present continuous. So this we use in can. So can model auxiliary can be used in the present tense as well as even for the future tense also. Look at the could. So could is used to denote the past, okay, and we also use could for very polite expressions. Here could, ability to do something in the past, what you were doing in the past. Look at this. I could run many miles when I was a student, but now he grown up, so he is unable to run. But he is when he was a student, he used to run many miles. That shows could shows the past tense. So for asking the permission also we use could. Example, could I borrow your book? So here can, it is informal, but could shows very formal structure of the language. So could I take your mobile? For asking the request also we can use could. Could you open the door? So it is very polite way we can ask the people. Now how could you bring a glass of water? This is also another kind of request. So these are the uses of the can and could. Now look at the another auxiliaries, that is may and might. So here may is used to express again the present and the future tense are the abilities. So here for asking the permission we use may. We are all very much familiar with this sentence. We all have us used and we continue to use. May I come in, sir? May I come in, ma'am? So this is asking the permission from someone. So how you can give the permission? Yes, you may go now or you may come now. For possibility as we use, so it may rain today. There is a possibility. It may not, but so may we are using to show the possibility. You may win the match. This is also a possibility. A wish. So may God bless you. Very familiar sentence. We all use very regularly. May God bless you to children and in different occasions. So may you live peacefully. For purpose also, how we can use may. We eat that we may live. So this is the purpose. Why we are eating? To live. So these are the uses and the functions of the may. Coming to the might. Might is used to denote possibility as you might reach there by night. So if we might also we use for possibility. We use can, may for possibility, might also for possibility. Both can be acceptable. We use might for offering. So we use this kind of structure very rare. So might I help you? So even in the spoken form also very rare we use this kind of sentences. Now move to the next one. We understand shall, should, ought to, must, have to. So dear students, here we have to understand either should or ought to, both are same, must or have to, both are alternatives. We can use either anyone. So here shall is used to denote a suggestion as shall I bring food for you? This is a kind of suggestion. So shall I carry your luggage? Okay, asking or giving a suggestion to someone else. So this shall can be used for the intention of the speaker as we shall inform you soon. Maybe at the time of the examination or when you have submitted application, the results are something, they say we shall inform you soon. So next one is should talks about obligation, compulsion. So it is used to express that we are now coming to the should. So for advice we use should. You should prepare well to get good rank in the exams. So it is an advice we are using. For advices we use should. Obligation as you should obey elders or you should obey parents. It is obligation. Compulsion. Now look at the another one, that is must or have to. So with these two can be used alternatively. So here must or have to is used when we think it is necessary to do something. Okay, so you cannot you don't have alternatives or the options when you use must or have to. So which is very necessary, and it used to denote obligation, compulsion. So example, you must drink milk regularly. For somebody's health point of view, you can give kind of obligation. So you have to drink milk regularly. Okay, so here we are using you must drink milk or you have to drink, must or have to, both can be acceptable. Even for possibility also we use must or have to, right? She must be acting, must be, you must be joking. Okay, now so advice or for the recommendations also we use must or have to. You must visit him or you must see doctor. So this is an advice we can give. So to emphasize the need and the importance, we use must in the sentence. Look at you have to visit him. Now we'll look at the another model auxiliaries, that is will and would. So here how will is used to denote the following situations we can understand. When future is intended without any ideas of command, will is used for the second and the third person. Look at the example. He will finish his work quickly. So here we are using will. So for first person we use shall, for the second person, third person we use will. So she will join her duties next week. This shows the intended meaning of the structure. Now for promises how we use will. They will get good jobs. This is to give promise to somebody else. And prediction are assumptions, what is going to be happen. We will win the match. That is called a prediction or the foretelling. So wish, request, demand, orders. Even for these cases also we use will. Like will you please open the door. Okay, it is a kind of a request you are asking someone. Look at the would. So would is used to denote habits in the past. Look at the example. I would play games for hours, but now he has stopped. Next example, wish are the for keeping request to someone. Would you tell me the time? It is the request. Can you tell me the time also? You can ask, would you tell me the time? So it is more polite. So dear students, this is what we have discussed verbs and the types of the verbs and their uses. Okay, so we have used be forms, do forms, have forms, even primary auxiliaries. We also used can, could, shall, should, may, might. So in the next video we will go through main verbs and their functions and their types. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe for more topics.